Here we go. Only the league left to play for. Champions League is a must now. Stephen Howson, how do we recover from losing to Arsenal? How damaging do you think that defeat could be?
In the grand scheme of things, it's not that damaging at the end of the day, is it? Because how often do we win the cup? Not very. About 10% of our history we win the cup, don't we? So I don't think anyone's job is going to be riding on the fact that we went out of the quarterfinals of an FA Cup. It's gutting, but what can we do? We've been rubbish all year. Can't say we didn't deserve it.
On a deeper level, though, do you think there's a problem, perhaps, Dave, for the players' mentality in being knocked out of a competition to a team they know they're competing against in the league for places?
I don't know, I just think they're not really, the players that we've got at the moment, they lack bottle, they lack determination, they lack quality. They're just not Man United players. The likes of Chris Smalling, the likes of Marouane Fellaini, they're just absolute garbage. And Valencia at right back is, it's beyond me about how much of a joke it is. It seems the players don't get Van Gaal's defending. You look at Holland at the World Cup. Ron Vlaar, he turned into an absolute machine. Louis Van Gaal knows something about football. Seems like these Man United players aren't taking that on board, and we're defending poorly. We've got to win 7 out of the last 10 games, I'd say, to get into that top 4. And that's a big ask considering who we've got to play, who we're coming up against.
Okay, Adam, do you think we need to look at a quick recovery from this defeat, or would you like Stephen, do you think it's not much of a problem?
Well, I kind of agree with Stephen in the sense that it's not going to affect, how we look at the season in the grand scheme of things, because it's a cup and it's always considered a bonus. But I looked at it kind of differently, that it was a big game against one of our rivals at Old Trafford and we failed to deliver. First half performance, I thought we were pretty good, to be honest. And I thought we played better than we have done for large parts of the season, but second half wasn't good enough and we lost. Ultimately, we lost. We never got the result. And I think you have to start asking questions about that, because this is a team that, I don't care where they are in the table, we should be beating Arsenal. At home, we should definitely be beating Arsenal. So you see who scored their winner, Danny Welbeck. He's a player that we just got shut off because he weren't good enough. And he scored the winner against us. Arsenal shouldn't be beating us at home. And Louis Van Gaal has to face the questions for that. I'm not saying Louis Van Gaal needs to go or anything like that. I am fully behind him. I'd still want Louis Van Gaal as manager if we finish 5th this season. But he does need to start seeing that some of the problems that we're facing at the moment are some of his doing, and not just that the players aren't getting his philosophy.
Okay, talking of Louis Van Gaal, Stephen, why do you think it isn't quite working for Van Gaal? Because we are getting more and more fans now turn their backs against him.
Yeah, massively. I had a lot of tweets today. There was someone asking me to get behind a banner and playing campaign.
I've seen that crap. That's probably an ABU though, to be honest.
Yeah, Joe, I actually think it's someone having a giggle, because there was a couple of City fans dived on it straight away. There's no way that United should get rid of this guy. I think I said it last season. You give the right man time. You don't just give time to anybody. You give the right guy time. That's why Moyes got the length of time that he got. And Van Gaal, even if he comes 5th, it isn't going to lose his job. I think it would need almost losing every single game until the end of the season before the board was like, okay, time to go. And that's not going to happen. Even though it's been grim, that's not going to happen.
Okay. Dave, you mentioned Van Gaal and Valencia in particular a minute ago. Although, as Stephen says, he obviously needs time and he deserves that time, why is he making some of these decisions, and why is it just not working at the minute?
I think the whole Man United at the moment isn't working because of the players we have. That is a massive statement. Obviously, we got, like Adam mentioned before, we got rid of the goal scorer, Danny Welbeck. I would have never got rid of Danny Welbeck in a million years. The only one, of our forward line that actually got pace, looking at the start of the season with our 4 strikers. But I think the thing with Van Gaal is you've got to look at his win rate over his career. At the moment, it's 61%. And in terms of managers' win rates, it always regressed to his mean. At the moment, at Man United, he's only won 52% of his games. But that's going to go up, because that's what happens in world football. It does hit that. It hits the peak, it hits your mean, and it doesn't go off that. If you look at Alex Ferguson's win rate over his time, 60% of Man United. So he's got the calibre of what we want. You compare that with his first season at Bayern Munich. You're looking at, they scored 2.11 goals per game, conceded 0.91 goals per game. Compare that with this season. Man United have scored 1.67 goals per game and conceded 0.92. So the defence is pretty much similar to his Bayern Munich first campaign, but it's the goals that we're missing. The strikers have got to be questioned. Wayne Rooney, Falcao. Look at them.
I think that's what I feel the biggest problem is, that me and Arsene have both said this a lot this season, that we haven't got our strikers into the right positions, and a lot of people have commented thinking that that's a thinly veiled protection of Falcao because we like him so much. Now, I obviously do like Falcao, but he obviously hasn't performed. But when I say that we're not getting our strikers through on goal enough, let me ask you this. This season, can you name one game where we've had the striker run through on goal, have the whole 18-yard box to himself, and the keeper in front of him? Have we created an opportunity like that this season?
You could probably look at that one against QPR where Wilson was through and he scored the rebound.
That's it, yeah. When they were chasing an equaliser, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that is in Van Gaal's first season, he was sort of a bit bailed out by Ian Robin. Ian Robin was he was signed for Real Madrid the summer that Van Gaal took over, and he scored 16 league goals. And they signed Mario Gomez that same summer, a striker that's got such calibre in Germany but was misfiring. Maybe it just takes time for his creativity levels to sort of hit the right peak, and then the likes of Falcao, the likes of Van Persie, the likes of Rooney, going to score more goals. Maybe it's that type of thing. Di Maria should have bailed us out this summer, this season with 16 league goals. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, right, let's move on. Stephen, give us your team.
Okay, so I submitted a team this morning, which was essentially the team that I've asked for the last two previews that we've not got. But I wanted to mix it up a little bit because I feel like, although the build-up's slow, that's not really going to change with the team I'm picking. But what I want to do is make sure that we're hitting some more of the easier passes, hitting passes in between the lines of opposition, because I think at the moment we're going sideways a lot, we're going down the wings, and that's easy passes, but it's not real penetration. So I'm looking for penetration and movement in the middle with the team I'm going for, which is going to be De Gea in net, Raphael, because he looked great last night, scored a wonder goal, Smalling, Rojo, Shaw, and Raphael and Shaw are going to be where my width comes from. And then I've got a midfield three, kind of Carrick, Herrera, and Blind, because this is all about passing. Mata just in front of them, Rooney and Falcao up top. Let's see it. Let's play some football, and let's score some goals.
Okay, Dave, what's your team?
So obviously, classic David De Gea in goal and a Raphael at right back. Jones and Rojo in the middle, Luke Shaw left back. I want to see a 4-3-3, but more of a 4-3-3 with a base of Carrick and Blind sitting next to each other. With obviously Daley Blind made 38 interceptions in 2015, more than the Premier League player. I think he's having a decent time at the moment. But I want to see Herrera at a sort of number 10 position, linking the midfield and the attack. If you look at Fellaini over the last few weeks, he's a physical threat. He can chest the ball, but what else can he do? You look at his stats this season, he's completed 126 passes in the final third. You compare that to Herrera, who has played less games than him. He's rocking 227 passes in the final third. Only Mata and Rooney have made more for Man United this season. We need a link man that can play football, and quite frankly, Fellaini can't. I'm looking at the wings. I want to see a bit of youth, a bit of fun. Man United need a hero at the moment. When you're in a dark time like we are at the moment, you need someone to look at, someone to shine a light. That's why I want to see Januzaj on the right-hand side, and I want to see Wilson at left midfield, or sort of a left midfield role. He played that for the under-19s, going up through Man United. He was very explosive, very good. I want to get him in the side and give him some game time. And obviously Wayne Rooney up top. This season, Rooney scored 9 of his 10 goals at Old Trafford, so hopefully he can score a few against Tottenham.
All right, excellent. Go on, Adam. Tell us what you think.
I like both teams. Having watched the under-21s last night, they played a similar style to the way we did. One difference that I saw was Warren. Obviously, I heard Warren Joyce was on the touchline screaming at players when they were out wide, get at them, drive at them, and I think that's what. While we're playing the same, the under-21s are playing the same shape as our first team. That was the difference in the first half. They had people running at players. So when they had someone on the ball running at them, say it was Pereira, they had Rothwell taking the defender off them. We had movement around them. And I think that's what we need to get into our game. It's all well and good saying, Fellaini can't do this, Herrera can do that, and all this and that. But so far, the mentality of the team hasn't been right. You've seen we've got players like Angel, Di Maria, Rooney, and so on and so forth on the pitch. But we haven't been playing football that you would say is evident of the players we've got. So we need to change our mentality more than the players on the pitch, in my opinion.
Okay, thanks so much. So we won't have to loiter on this because who wants to talk about Spurs? But who are the players we have to worry about, Howson?
Obviously, Harry Kane is the media darling at the moment. Going to be England's saviour probably, and all that jazz that we always get with a new guy who comes in and scores more than 10 goals in a season. Mm-hmm. He looks good. I'm not going to discredit him in any sort of way. I'm a big fan of Eric Lamela, and I'm a big fan of Eriksen as well. And the way we're playing, they could either rip us apart or we can pass them out of the game. It can go either way. Okay, Dave?
So I'm looking at Christian Eriksen. He's been Spurs is one of Spurs' standout players this season, along with the main man Harry Kane at the moment. Christian Eriksen scored more goals from outside the area than any Premier League player. I think in Europe's top 5 leagues, only Fekir scored more goals than him. So the lad's having an absolute worldie. We need to be aware of that. We need to be aware of his movement. We need our 2 players or 1 player patrolling in front of the back four to be so aware of Christian Eriksen. He likes to pop up on the right wing, the left wing, in the hole. He's one of those players that you can't not watch and you can't not really get close sight to. I'd quite like to see him at Man United in the summer. He'd be a brilliant player for us. He's quite direct. Get him on the ball and he will create stuff for you.
Okay. Adam, we've heard about Lamela, Eriksen and Kane, but is there anyone else we need to worry about? Maybe their defenders, goalkeeper?
Apart from them guys, I think Ryan Mason has been impressive for them this season. I think his first name's Ryan anyway. I know his surname's Mason. But he has played well. He's one of Spurs' youth team players as well. And I think him and Harry Kane give them a bit more drive, the players that want to play for Spurs, the players that have come through the ranks and so on. So I think if we can keep the lid on Harry Kane and Ryan Mason, and obviously Christian Eriksen's outstanding and he sets the tone for them, then we'll be all right. But I'm not saying I'm confident, yeah.
Okay, right, let's do predictions then. Howson, do you want to go first?
1-1.
1-1. Okay. Dave?
I'm going to have to be bad here. I'm going to say 3-2 Spurs.
Oh, Dave, get off. Adam?
Can I just say, this is a momentous day in Full-Time Devils history. It's the first time a guest has ever predicted a defeat.
Yeah, I think it is.
I can see it. I can see it. It's just going to
Stop
happen.
saying it.
Taking the
Cut him
piss
off right now. Cut him now.
Right.
Anyway,
go on, Adam.
it's a 6-pointer. If we beat them, we're 6-point clear of Spurs, and I think that's one team out of the way in the race for the top 4. We're going to beat them. Going to be tight. 3-2 United. Dave, get out.
All right. 2-1. That's my prediction. 2-1. Guys, thank you very much. Let us know what you think about Lou Van Gaal, about our formation, about everything really. Manchester United. Get it in the comments. See ya.